Hey, good morning or good evening. Well, my tongue's a little bit ahead of my brain here, but yeah, we're looking out at this gas station here that has been closed about 35 years. Some very interesting footage, and that wasn't really even planned. I was just driving along looking for some footage and saw those ruins there, and it worked out pretty well. Anyway, here's the severe weather we had yesterday. Pretty much a corridor of tornadoes, hail, and wind from northern Alabama to just south of Alabama there to about Augusta, Georgia. And you can see it started out as tornadoes, those red dots. Had about 16 of them touching down anywhere from northwest Alabama to Atlanta. Mixed in with some hail, and then after 9 to 10 p.m. it switched over to mostly wind gusts. And we discussed this a little bit last night and showed that the high-resolution rapid refresh was hinting at this, showing the discrete cells along this track. Anyway, that's a look at the weather there, and let's look at what happened tonight, or yeah, tonight's weather. Our outgoing frontal system heading off the coast here. Have a cold front coming in through Florida, and another little warm front up off the coast of Virginia there. Very weak high pressure trailing in behind these systems. We've only got about a 1027 millibar high over Ontario, and pretty quiet across the west. Let's head over to the charts. We'll take a look at the jet stream pattern here. And this is probably, I would think that's probably a polar front jet coming across much of the southwest and southeast U.S. there. I'm not too sure if any of this is a subtropical jet. Actually, this definitely is down here in Florida, because we can see the higher velocities down in that area. To really find that out, if we go down to 500 millibars, that'll kind of go underneath the subtropical jet if there is one. And indeed, we can see the wind flow tapering off down there in Florida down to 40 knots. We do keep 50 to 70 knots through this area, so I think that is a good indication that we have a polar front jet in that area. And now that we've identified the jet, we can find the major waves. Looks like there's a bit of a ridge just off the east coast there. Keep in mind this is this morning's chart. This is 6 in the morning. Trough over Alaska and wet East Texas, and then a ridge on the California coast right there. As far as the long wave pattern, we have to look even bigger and almost go hemispheric. This entire thing here, this is all a long wave trough. And only when we go out into the Pacific, we pick up a ridge way out there. I'm not too sure that this site serves up hemispheric data. I think we might have to go to pivotal weather for that, but maybe I can bring that up and we can check that out. So we'll just go to pivotal weather, go to this models link up here at the top, and then we just click on continental and then northern hemisphere. And I've got to be a little bit careful about this because I don't want to mess up the stream with data coming in, so I'm going to kind of work with this as quickly as I can. There we go. That should cancel out the data loading. Let me see if we drop frames. No drop frames. Okay, so there's our hemispheric chart. And, you know, really we should be going up to 250 for that. Let me see if I can change that. Give me just a second here. The problem with 500 millibars is it picks up a lot of short waves. Those will be showing up and the flow will be the field will be kind of noisy. So what we need to do is go up to upper air. We'll have to pick 300 millibars there, and that will give us the graphic that we want to look at there. That's a little bit better. So there we go, 300 millibar chart for a little bit earlier today. And there's our big long wave ridge out over the Pacific. I'm going to go ahead and color that red. Big old trough out over the U.S. Looks like kind of a narrow long wave ridge out over the Atlantic, and looks like a kind of a large trough out over Europe. Another one out here, and looks like maybe another one here. So I'm thinking we perhaps have about 4 long waves around the hemisphere there. And it looks like it's broken up into a series of cutoff lows. A couple of them out there in the Pacific, the main flow way up there in the Aleutians, the Bering Sea, and the Kamchatka area. It looks like that comes around there. That's probably not actually... Yeah, I guess that would be cutoff flow. It's kind of a split flow out here in the Pacific. And then we pick up the jet right there over the U.S. So that's kind of the hemispheric pattern, and I think since we're looking at a ridge out here and a trough here, there's a lot of potential for troughs to come over the top of this ridge and work southeast. So I think this is going to be kind of a active weather pattern for the next couple weeks here. Let's take a look at the thermal chart. This is the thickness in isobars. Everything is moving out towards the Atlantic coast. Looks like the cold front extending through northern Florida out into the Gulf of Mexico like that, connecting up into this other wave that's a little bit further northeast, and then we pick up our warm front out like that. So we can see that maybe some of the heavier precip is just north of that warm front out here. A little bit of wraparound around that system, and then a separate system out in this area here. And then back behind it, we've got all of that cold air advection coming in the backside. It looks like it only extends out to Texas and Oklahoma, because this is a ridge, and on the other side of that ridge, we've got warm air advection. So there's that, the warm air advection already starting up in the Rio Grande area, Pecos River region in West Texas. And then if we go a little bit further out to the west, we start picking up this next Pacific system moving inland. This is a high pressure area here. However, a little bit further out to the west, we've got a bit of warm air advection right there. In fact, it forms a box like that right there. Yeah, almost a second box right here. So this is all an area of warm air advection, and very likely a warm front located right there. So just southwest of Los Angeles, southwest of Vandenberg, and that connects back up into the system here. So this is our next weather, next frontal system heading into California there. And if we look at the thickness pattern, kind of runs like that right there. So the general steering flow is probably going to take that into the Northern California area. Then up to the north, looks like we've got some pretty good cold air advection out over the northeast Pacific. That could be a separate frontal system, maybe something like that right there. So I'd probably go something like that right there. I don't know if that's going to have any impact on the U.S., maybe in the northwest region, perhaps. Maybe that'll come southward or eastward, kind of like that. And then up to the north, if we want to look at more systems, there's another cold front way up here that probably connects back up into that system. No, that actually looks separate. I'm probably going to go with that right there, and then this looks like kind of a separate cold front way up to the north. So there is a bit of winter still going on way up there in northern Canada. All right, we'll go ahead and take a look at the satellite. You can see all those storms there off the east coast of the U.S. right there. Looks like some going on. Looks like north of Fort Lauderdale out to Lake Okeechobee and down to Fort Myers. So looks, maybe I should bring up the radar and check out some of that there. We'll bring up the College of DuPage radar and bring up the NexRad sites, and yeah, we need a site kind of in the Fort Myers area, really. I guess I'll go with Miami here. And missing data. There it is. So, yeah, that looks kind of linear there. Looks like a lot of cell competition. And then further up the line, looks like a little bit, that's probably out of range there. Got to keep in mind that the radar site is way down here. So we're kind of shooting it up towards the northeast. So probably we're looking at the higher tops on that stuff out near Fort Myers or Fort Lauderdale. But if we pick out another radar, we can get probably a little bit better. Well, we can pick up this stuff here, but this, I guess we really do need the Miami radar to detect that. But anyway, that's a look at what's going on there in Florida. Okay, so yeah, we'll look at the water vapor imagery, and let me see how things are looking there in the chat. Kind of a quiet evening, and it is Tuesday. Or is it Monday? No, it is Tuesday. Okay. Erica Baker there at Coffeyville, Kansas. Clouds are retreating from northwest to southeast. Ron Chalfant, 54 degrees there in Southern California. Mike Westick reporting 47 with north wind in Denver. Mike Wan is here. Been missing the live stream. Funwatech is here, and David Holcomb, Chris Tyne, Mike Wan admiring that drone footage there. Appreciate that. Ron Chalfant also likes the drone footage and the music. Adam Davis reporting 30s in Clarion. Got Ryan Toomey's here. Weather warnings have expired for their area of South Florida. Brett Dean reporting freezing rain, sleet, snow, graupel. Lots of stuff going on there. Ryan Toomey's mentioning North and Central Florida hammered earlier today with severe weather. Ping-pong ball-sized hail around Orlando and Daytona Beach. So that's going to be in the central and northeast part of Florida there. Lots of straight-line wind damage across the state. Snowstorm flight cancellations mounting as the system moves further northeast. And Jacksonville, Alabama tornado last night struck at 8:51 p.m. as the webcast was concluding. Rated EF3 there from the Weather Service. Appreciate that, Ryan. Brett Dean looking for 12 to 14 inches of wet snow in southern Jersey. And Chris Tyne discussing some of the freezing temperatures. Sue M, 2 to 4 inches of snow overnight. And, Chris Tyne mentioning the Jacksonville tornado there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look out west, because got that system moving off the coast, and our attention is shifting back out towards California, Nevada, and Arizona. So we definitely have our next system coming northward, tapping some of that subtropical moisture there. And of course we've got our Goes West system, or Goes West satellite, so we can check that out in more detail. Now we saw from the analysis that the warm front was somewhere right around here, and possibly connecting back southeastward, I guess kind of like that. So we're in this big warm air advection area. I would be expecting the clouds and precip to be continuing to develop overnight. San Francisco, Sacramento, Stockton, Fresno, all up in that area. And then probably by tomorrow we're going to see that moving into Southern California and Nevada there, and possibly parts of, actually probably all of California there tomorrow. So we'll check that out. And looks like a lot of troughing going on off the coast there. Now let's take a quick look at the soundings. And it's probably good to kind of look at that with some of the water vapor imagery. So we've got our moisture moving into Texas at this time, but it looks like a lot of dry air out behind this cold front. So all this right here is dry air, and this is especially dry air. That's lots of subsidence, which decreases the relative humidity through the column, especially aloft, and we can look at that on the soundings. So we'll go out to Tallahassee, for example, and they're definitely very dry there, just off the surface. So we go up only up to 10,000 feet, and dew points are minus 45 Celsius. That's going to be about minus 50 Fahrenheit. So if we had like a little mountain range there, a little tourist spot up there at 10,000 feet, it would be bone dry there at Florida, and you can see it gets even drier as you get aloft. For example, this is minus 40, minus 50, minus 60, minus 70. So at 30,000 feet, you've got a dew point of minus 70 Celsius, and that's going to be close to about minus 90 to minus 100 Fahrenheit. So that's one reason on the backside of these systems why the air mass at the surface gets so dry, because some of that air does make it down to the surface, especially down on this layer right here. So that kind of transport down to the surface can really dry things off there. We'll check out Fort Worth. We saw clear skies on the video there. A little bit of cirrus being indicated. Right. What happened to my cursor? Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. That's a little layer of cirrus there, probably about 24,000 feet, but it's even dry in Texas there. But the jet stream, certainly active, 100 knots there at 300 millibars. We'll take a look at a couple of other areas around the country. Wilmington, Ohio. Got a little bit of what looks like a cold air mass. So a little bit of modification in that shallow part of the column. And this is all the cold layer right there. That's extending all the way up to about 7,000 or 8,000 feet. And above that, looks like a little bit of elevated moisture in the base of the tropical air mass. If this is unstable enough, you can get some elevated showers. We see that a lot in Texas. And then above that, looks like the tropopause right at about 31,000 feet. And we'll check out Oakland, coming under that warm air advection, and that's got kind of a warm frontal type appearance there. The temperature and dew point, they both decrease and then they both increase. So that right there, that's going to be the frontal inversion up at about 5,000 feet. Very high tropopause, indicating the close proximity of the tropical air mass in that region. All right, so we've got a pretty quiet evening, so we'll go ahead and look at the forecast. Thanks to the GFS here. So that weather system along the southeastern U.S., there it is right there. That's going to be moving east for the most part. And very quickly, this is by 3 in the morning, it's already way out here. So things should be clearing up pretty quickly, including in South Florida there. But the occlusion hanging back across the Virginias there. So it looks like possibly another day of inclement weather. It's like 2 occlusions here. So one of them will be moving up towards the New York City area. So a little bit of heavy snow for tomorrow afternoon. Let me take a look at the soundings in that area. I pulled up a sounding here for New York, and This is kind of showing the profile there, and you can see the strong northerly flow. But as you go aloft, we pick up some southeasterly flow, indicating this very strong change in wind direction, indicating some strong residual baroclinicity back there. And column is very cold, and it's all sub-freezing. This is the zero line right here, and the dendritic snow growth region up there in the mid-levels, showing up there. And let me go back to that chart right there, and let's see how things progress during the evening. Things should start shutting down pretty quickly, I would think. These occlusions, they tend to be really transitory, and you can see by mid-evening, around midnight, things mostly move up into Maine there. And then we lose that occlusion. That's way out to the west, it looks like. So things will be shutting down tomorrow night. Here's the big ridge across the eastern U.S., and then the warm air advection starting up in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. And then out west, we've got a weather system coming inland. You can see it right there. Looks like finally the cold front moves in. Looks like some heavy rain and snow in the higher elevations. That's going to be early Thursday, and then the system will be moving across the Rockies on Friday and emerging out into the Great Plains here. So this is approximately where the fronts are on Friday evening. We may have a bit of a chance of thunderstorms. It looks, from what I'm looking at in this moist sector, it's not breaking out any precip, and this is the 0Z chart. So this is indicating we've probably got issues with either the cap or the moisture quality or depth. So I'm kind of surprised to see that completely bone dry there. I mean, we could still squeak out some showers, possibly along the dry line in that area right there. But I would be thinking probably mostly north of I-40 for Friday. And then, let's see, 12Z, that's going to be moving into the Kansas City area. That's the convective minimum time. If this was 0Z, there'd probably be some severe weather in Missouri, kind of in that area right there. And then at 0Z, which is the convective maximum for Saturday there, things have moved mostly into eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. Now it does look like we have the warm front kind of in this area here. Looks like maybe a bit of cold air damming in that region. So depending on how much moisture we have, there could be some severe weather potential in this area here. So it looks like a quiet day for Saturday, and then for Sunday, you can see we're still advecting moisture up. That cold front is kind of stalled there in Texas, and with that moist air impinging on the front, probably later in the day we'll see things develop. And yeah, it looks like some convective signatures here showing. That's 0Z right there, so we're going to have to kind of watch maybe North Texas and Oklahoma for Sunday. And you can see those pressure and height falls there in Colorado. Looks like a new front coming in from the west there. So that's probably how the surface systems look at that time. Then going into Monday, Tuesday, it looks like very strong cold air mass coming in from the northwest U.S. More storms in Texas. Looks like that cold front just kind of stagnates out west, and the Gulf is wide open. Lots of isobars in Louisiana and Texas. And yeah, it looks like they're going for more stuff, especially on Monday, the 26th. And then more to redevelopment on possibly the 27th. So it looks like a lot of rain early next week for Texas. There's that inverted trough we were looking at yesterday. And yeah, it looks like a series of waves moving across Texas all the way through Thursday and Friday. So I think we're going to have to watch for the possibility of flash flooding in that area. East Texas up to Arkansas. Finally, things move eastward for Friday the 30th. It's kind of too early to call for severe weather. This is 230 hours out. However, that's going to move up into the northeast. Weak high pressure coming in behind. Here comes a strong one for the weekend. Looks like kind of an Alberta clipper coming in. See that right there? That's coming in from the northwest there. So this is for the first week of April. Kind of a cold start to that. This is going to be mostly Canadian origin. And then we get to the end of the chart. So, yeah, a little bit of spring and a little bit of winter for starting out April, and after that, who knows. Okay, Ryan Toomey says, like button, folks, smash it. I appreciate that, Ryan. Thunder rumbling at the office, moderate storms, cooler weather tomorrow, where Ryan is in Florida. Very active weather pattern developing over the coming weeks, it looks, from Carl Berghoff there. Waiting for the first storms of the season. S. Andrew Walters, welcome to the webcast. Looking for more snow in the Ohio River Valley. And hopefully I got everybody. All right, that's about all I got for tonight. I appreciate you all watching, and hopefully we'll see y'all tomorrow night. And have a good evening. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.